welcome to the
Hello,
mini story
welcome
for
to
the
mini
race.
story for the
Let's
race.
get started.
Let's get started.
It was 5 o'clock, and Alan was riding his motorcycle in San Francisco. When was Alan riding his motorcycle?
At 5 o'clock. At 5 o'clock.
At
Alan
5 o'clock,
was
right?
riding his
At 5
motorcycle.
o'clock,
At 5
Alan
o'clock.
was riding his motorcycle. Was Alan riding his car? Or was Alan riding his motorcycle?
Alan was riding his motorcycle.
Was riding his motorcycle.
Alan was riding his
Where
motorcycle.
Was Alan riding his motorcycle?
In San Francisco.
In San Francisco.
Alan was riding his
Alan was riding his motorcycle
in San Francisco.
When was he riding?
Yes, at 5 o'clock.
At 5 o'clock.
Alan was riding his motorcycle.
Alan was riding his motorcycle in San Francisco.
In San Francisco.
He was riding down Van Ness Street and came to a stoplight. Who was riding down Van Ness Street?
Of course, Alan was riding down Van Ness Street.
What was he riding on?
On a motorcycle. Alan was
on a motorcycle.
He
was riding on his motorcycle. Was he riding down Market Street?
No, not Market Street.
No, not Market Street. He wasn't riding down Market Street.
He wasn't riding down
Was he riding
Market
down
Street.
Lombard Street?
Riding down Van Ness Street.
No. He wasn't riding down Lombard Street. He was riding down Van Ness Street.
Of course.
When? When was he riding down Van Ness Street?
At 5 o'clock. At 5 o'clock.
At 5
Alan
o'clock.
was riding down his motorcycle.
Down Van Ness Street.
He was riding
down Van Ness Street at 5 o'clock.
Alan was riding down Van Ness Street at 5 o'clock.
Alan was riding down Van Ness Street at 5 o'clock. Was he in a truck?
No, he wasn't in a truck.
He wasn't in a truck.
His motorcycle.
He was on his motorcycle.
On his motorcycle.
And he came to a stoplight.
And he came to
Did
a stoplight.
Did Alan come to a go light?
No, he didn't come to
No.
a go
He didn't
light.
come to a go light.
He came to a stoplight. We never say go light. We only say stoplight.
Only say stoplight. Who came to a stoplight?
Alan came to a stoplight.
Alan, of course.
Alan came to a stoplight. Alan came to a stoplight.
What was he on when he came to a stoplight?
A motorcycle. He was on
his motorcycle
when he came to a stoplight.
Where was the stoplight?
On Van Ness Street. The stoplight was on Van Ness Street.
The stoplight was
on Van Ness Street.
Was the stoplight on Embarcadero Street?
No.
Or was the stoplight on Van Ness Street?
On Van Ness Street. The stoplight
was on Van Ness. The stoplight was on Van Ness Street. Who was at the stoplight?
Of course, Alan was at a stoplight.
Which city was Alan in? San Francisco. Of course.
Of course. Alan
was in San Francisco. Where is Van Ness? Well,
Van Ness Street
is in San Francisco.
Van Ness Street is in San Francisco. Of course, Van Ness Street is in San Francisco.
Is Van Ness Street in New York?
No.
Or is Van Ness Street in San Francisco?
Van Ness Street is in San Francisco.
Of course, Van Ness Street is in San Francisco. Where was Alan riding?
Alan was riding down Van Ness Street in San Francisco.
Van Ness Street in San Francisco.
Riding down
and he came
Van Ness Street
to a stoplight.
A
red Ferrari pulled up next to him.
Pulled up next to him.
Did the red Ferrari pull up behind him?
No, not behind him.
No, not behind him. The red Ferrari pulled up next to him. What pulled up next to Alan?
A red Ferrari.
A red Ferrari pulled up next to Alan. Did Alan pull up next to a red Ferrari?
No, Alan didn't.
No. Alan didn't pull up
next to a red
Ferrari.
A red Ferrari.
A red Ferrari
pulled up Alan.
next to him. Where did the red Ferrari pull up next to Alan?
At the stoplight on Van Ness Street.
On Van Ness Street. At a stoplight.
At the stoplight on Van Ness Street.
A red
Ferrari pulled up next to Alan.
Was Alan in a red Ferrari?
No, Alan wasn't in a red Ferrari. Alan was on a motorcycle.
Alan was on a motorcycle. What did the red Ferrari do?
A red Ferrari pulled up next to Alan.
Next to Alan. The
A red Ferrari
pulled up
next to Alan.
The driver was wearing dark
sunglasses.
So Alan was wearing dark sunglasses.
No, not Alan.
No, not Alan.
The driver of the Ferrari was wearing dark sunglasses, not Alan.
Who was wearing dark sunglasses?
The driver of the Ferrari was wearing dark sunglasses, not Alan.
The driver of the Ferrari
Alan wasn't wearing dark sunglasses, not Alan.
The driver
looked over at Alan.
Did the driver look behind Alan?
No. The driver looked over at Alan.
Who looked over at Alan?
The driver of the Ferrari looked over at Alan.
Looked over at Alan. Did Alan look over at the driver?
Yes, he did. He also looked over at the driver.
Alan also looked over at the driver. Who was the driver?
Tom Cruise.
Tom Cruise
was the driver of the Ferrari.